And none of us can speed up, I guess, what kind of has to happen. So you also had a chance, because there have been critics, and Bobby Jindal is one Republican governor of Louisiana who is going to be one of, I think, 3 declining some of the stimulus money.
That were there.
Yeah, $7 billion for the federal unemployment funds, right, allocated in the stimulus plan. So you had a chance to talk to him yesterday. What is he saying about all of this?
It was interesting because President Obama, essentially, he's trying to capitalize off of the disagreements between Republicans themselves that we saw spill out over the weekend. The National Governors Association, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, very much in support of this. Jindal, as you mentioned, very much against it. He hopes that by pitting these guys against each other, in some ways he has some political cover. I spoke with Jindal and I said, look, you know, the president says 99% of what you're talking about, you're in agreement here. So this is all political. And here's how he responded.
I continue to say, as I've said before, that certainly I think there could have been a very different stimulus bill written. There could have been a stimulus bill that was truly targeted and temporary, focused on infrastructure, focused on the kinds of tax credits that have gotten investment moving in the private sector. So it's not just limited to those provisions that we identified on Friday. For example, $1 billion for the census. For example, $300 million to buy cars for the federal government. For example, $50 million for the National Endowment for the Arts. And the list goes on and on. There are several spending, there's several dollars included in the stimulus that it's not apparent to me why they necessarily had to be in the stimulus package, what they have to do with actually stimulating the economy.
But the Obama administration, the president is banking on the fact that everyday Americans aren't particularly listening to what he's saying, Jindal is saying. And they believe, look, if there's money available, we want to be able to use it. We want to, help ourselves. But at the same time, we want government money to help us as well. So they don't think it's going to be really very much of a threat.
Right. And just important to point out, Bobby Jindal is saying that he's rejecting this money because it would require permanent changes, right, in their state law that could adversely affect unemployment.
And it would take power away from him. Right.
Suzanne, thanks so much.
Well, job cuts are skyrocketing. The stock market is plummeting. It's a disaster.